Well, hello there and welcome. I'm Ken Ludwig, and this is Making It Out Alive. This is my Facebook page, Making It Out Alive, and it is the name of this podcast, which I am going to start doing right here, right now. This is the inaugural broadcast. It is my place to express social commentary, political commentary. Today, I was planning very much on doing some political commentary because there's plenty of crazy politics to talk about, and that was my thought. But it's a little bit more somber because of what happened yesterday in Uvalde, Texas, with the murder of 19 children and two teachers at the grammar school there. The grammar school that was school to third and fourth graders, which is what is it, 10 years old to, or 8 to 10, or those are they're babies. They're just children. 19 of them will never see the light of day ever again. And I guess my thought is really that where do we go from here? What's next? What do we do? The President Biden gave a very, very short and touching speech last night after he had just gotten off of Air Force One from his trip to Asia, and he spoke briefly about the heartache, the grief, the amazing weight, the black hole into which those who have lost children get sucked. That seems like it's a never-ending space, that it just kind of draws you in. There's no place to escape. Joe Biden would be uniquely qualified to speak about that, having lost his 13-month-old daughter back in 1972, and just his eldest son, Beau, who he lost just in 2015. He knows the grief. He knows the grief of a parent who has lost a child. It's almost unfathomable if you know anyone who's lost a child, and I do. If you know someone who's lost even a young child or an adult child, it's unfathomable, the grief. And when you deal with something where 19 children in a very small community where everybody knows everybody, 19 children assassinated in this senseless killing, the grief is overwhelming. I think the grief overwhelms a lot more people than just them. I know I have shed a tear or two over the last 24 hours as a direct result of this horrific, incredible news. But I don't think that's the whole story. The whole story really is about, when does this end? Man, we just had this insane racist killing in the grocery store in Buffalo, in a food desert where the only grocery store in this primarily Black neighborhood was this place where this gunman went in and killed 9 people. That one was, without question, a hate crime. It was racially motivated. The killing in the school in Uvalde, Texas, maybe not so much, as the person who did the shooting was a resident of the area. He was an Hispanic himself, in a very, very, very Hispanic neighborhood and town. But it just keeps going, and it just keeps going, and it just keeps going. Joe Biden mentioned last night that he spoke at Sandy Hook 10 years ago, 3,400 and some odd days earlier, and there had been 900 firings of weapons in schools, I think is what he said. And I honestly did not research any of that. I'm going to go with what he said as maybe that's what he was referring to, as just shootings in schools, not necessarily murders, but shootings in schools, over 900 of them, which, if you do the simple math, is more than one every 4 days. That's crazy. That's crazy. We have mass shooting after mass shooting. There's been over 200 mass killings in the United States of America in 2022, which is not yet even half over. This is a unique American problem. This doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. There are unique occurrences in other Western democracies. It doesn't really happen anywhere but Western democracies, but it happens most often in the United States of America. What the hell is wrong with us? What has become of us? After Sandy Hook, 90% of the population wanted to have some common sense gun laws enacted in this country, basically around background checks and making sure that we try our darndest to keep guns out of the hands of people who shouldn't have freaking guns. In particular, weapons of mass destruction, basically the AR-15s, the semi-automatic weapons of war. They are killing machines. They are not tools of sport. They're killing machines. They're not tools of fun. They're killing machines. They're not tools of hunting. They're killing machines. They're meant to kill people. Period. That's all they're meant for, folks. And in the aftermath of Sandy Hook, when so many people were calling for action, Congress, after hemming and hawing and going back and forth, did exactly what we expect Congress to do. Virtually nothing. Watered down laws, leaving it up to the states. In the interim, all of the, don't want to get too political around this, all of the democratically run states tightened gun laws. All of the Republican states invariably have loosened gun laws. Some of the loosest gun laws in the country are where? In Texas, which is now home to like 9 of the worst mass killings in the history of keeping track of these things in the last many years. On top of that, just a little addendum to that, the NRA is having their annual meeting for the first time, I think, in 3 years. They're having it where? Houston, Texas. When does it start? In 2 days. Who are the main speakers? The main speakers, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, Ted Cruz, the senator, the juniorist of senators from Texas, and of course, the disgraced, twice impeached, failed former president, the former guy who's, I'll do my darndest not to just repeat his name, just not to give him the satisfaction of getting any PR from me. We have got to overcome the lobbyists. We have got to overcome the NRA. We have got to have serious discussion around the idea of who gets a gun. You can't rent a car until you're 25 years old. In most states in this country, you can't have a drink legally in a bar until you're 21 years old. Why in God's name is any 18-year-old allowed anywhere to buy a semi-automatic weapon? Simply because they're 18. In Texas, that's exactly what happened with this young man. Bought an AR-15 style weapon on his 18th birthday, bought another one 2 days later, and bought some over 300 rounds of ammunition. Really? That's okay? That's a red flag to begin with, but he's 18 years old. How smart when you were 18? How many stupid things did you do when you were 18? How many people my age are just really thrilled to death that there was no social media, that everybody didn't have a camera on their damn phone in the 1960s? How much stupid stuff did I do that maybe in this day and age I might have gone to jail for? Who knows? 18-year-old kids should not have those guns. And yes, this kid is probably deeply disturbed for whatever reasons. But as Joe Biden pointed out last night, every country on this planet has the mentally ill. They have the displaced. They have the lost. They have the completely unhinged. They have them in every country in the world. What they don't have is access to automatic weapons. Greg Abbott, the pathetic excuse for a governor in Texas, first thing he said was, we need to put guns in the hands of teachers. We need more police on the premises. Really? I remember driving through Mexico when on vacation, and the police all have automatic weapons slung over their shoulder. Is that what the children in our grammar schools are supposed to see, as a policeman with an AR-15 hanging over his shoulder, ready to defend them? Really? Are we supposed to have teachers with guns? That sick, pathetic saw that the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Guess what? I moved to North Carolina, which is where I am now, from Colorado back in November of last year. Prior to that, in that previous year, there was a shooting in the town I lived in, Arvada. I lived in kind of the suburbs of Arvada, or the suburban area of Arvada, not the downtown area. The downtown was one of those kind of refurbished areas, gentrified area, lots of activity going on, and some place that was really 10 years ago was dead doornails, but they had revitalized it. It was really cool. A guy showed up with a gun, started shooting people. A young fella who was a good guy with a gun pulled his to try and protect people, and he was shot dead by the police. The good guy with the gun died. Why? Because how do you tell the difference between the good guy with the gun and the bad guy with the gun? It took the attempts of several police officers yesterday to bring down this assailant at the Uvalde Grammar School, at the Robb School. At first, they thought that he had armor on, but it turned out he just had the sleeve that the body armor goes in, he had on. He didn't really have body armor. They finally took him down, but they didn't take him down until he killed 21 people. There is no reason for this to happen. We get from the right, we get thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers aimed at a situation, at a problem that you refuse to solve is bullshit. Keep your thoughts and prayers. Put them where the sun don't shine. Let's have some action. Let's have some Republicans with guts. Let's get rid of these cowards who kowtow to the gun lobby. And I'm not talking about your basic gun owner. I'm not talking about your serious hunter. I'm not talking about your serious, responsible gun owner. I'm a gun owner. At one point in my life, I owned multiple guns. I'm a responsible gun owner. I'm not afraid of guns. If you have guns for sport, great. If you have guns for hunting, great. I'm not a hunter. My gun is basically, it's something that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable around protection, but I don't need an automatic weapon that fires hundreds of rounds of ammunition per minute to protect my home. You know, learned a long time ago from an expert that if you want to learn how to protect your home, you need to hit a target from 25 feet away, because you're never going to have to hit a target any farther than that in your home. You don't need to spray bullets all over your house. You need to be able to aim and fire a gun and hit a target 25 feet away. That's protecting your home. If you own a gun, great. We have that Second Amendment. We have the right to bear arms, and we can debate the degree to which you're allowed to bear arms. But let's know, you're not allowed to own a tank. You can't own a bazooka. You can't own an RPG. You can't own a rocket launcher. You can't own grenades. But somehow you get to own a rifle that fires 200 or 300 rounds of ammunition per minute, or whatever the hell it is. It's pathetic. It's wrong. We need to have better laws. We need to have no loopholes in those laws. We need to have a ban on the sale, the manufacture and sale of assault weapons. We need a ban on the manufacture and sale of parts and ammunition for them, so that those who own those weapons, you keep them, but over a period of time, they will become obsolete. We need to do this, and we need to do this now. We don't need to do it later, because later we're going to have more mass killings. I got a magazine called The Week, and I thought I had it nearby here. It's not in front of me. Here it is. You know what? I'm going to reach for it. It's called The Week, and the front page of The Week today was about last week's shooting in Buffalo. Guess what next week's cover is going to be? This week's shooting at Robb, the elementary school in Uvalde. A weekly shooting? Weekly deaths of our school children? Are we really, really here to sacrifice our school children so some lunatics can maintain their Second Amendment rights to bear weapons of mass destruction, to bear weapons of war in their home? Who are you at war with besides your own psyche, your own ego? It's time, folks. It's well past time. We need to stand up to the NRA, to the evil that is the Wayne LaPierres of the world, to the gun manufacturers. We need to stand up to them, and we need to say enough. Enough. People are going to die. We can't protect everybody. Republicans are going to say, well, if we passed this law, it wouldn't have prevented this mass killing. If we passed that law, it wouldn't have prevented these two mass killings over here. Who cares? That's baloney. That's cowardice. Pass something. Pass something. Guns are our right. As I repeat, I'm a gun owner. We all have the right to bear arms. But there has to be some sense. There has to be some sense of responsibility with your rights. Rights aren't just something you get that you just have and you can do whatever the hell you want with them. Every single right that we have in the Bill of Rights comes with responsibility. There is no responsibility in our gun laws. None. The idea has been floated many, many, many times that you must have insurance, liability insurance, if you own a gun. Man, oh man, oh man. Let me tell you, you want to see a way to control guns? Just make sure that everybody who owns a gun or multiple guns has every single weapon insured. Not just themselves, every weapon. So the guy who owns one weapon pays one amount. The guy who has 15 weapons pays another amount. The numbers, there's some ungodly numbers out there. I can't. I'm going to make the numbers up just so you get an idea. This is what it's like. There's like 15 million AR-15 style weapons in the country, and they're mostly owned by 3 or 4 million people. That gives you an idea that these are being hoarded and collected by people for absolutely no reason. Christmas Day here in North Carolina, in rural North Carolina, you could tell who got an AR-15 for Christmas because they were outside shooting them on Christmas Day afternoon. What were they shooting at? The forest, the woods. There's nothing else to shoot at. Just popping off rounds, 15, 20, 30 at a clip. What is that? Is that sport? Is that hunting? What is that? There's more to the story. There will be more to the story. We need to have politicians with guts. We have politicians now. We're surrounded by politicians who are basically cowards. My daddy was fond of saying, we are in the hands of assassins. They might as well all be assassins. Everyone who kowtows to the gun lobby has blood on their hands. Everyone who has failed to pass legitimate, real, serious gun purchasing regulations has blood on their hands. Greg Abbott, you have blood on your hands. Ted Cruz, you have blood on your hands. Disgraced, twice impeached former president, you have blood on your hands. You all have blood on your hands. Simply because you refuse to do anything to prevent the killings. All of your excuses, all of your logic around not passing this law, that law, the other law, everything you've ever said about not passing laws to regulate guns, to control gun ownership in this country, every single one of them is political bullshit. And you knew it when you said it. But you needed to say it to keep the dollars coming in from the gun manufacturers and the NRA. By the way, this is just another side note. For you NRA members, I want you to know this. If you're not a member of the NRA, that's fine. If you are a member and you don't know this, you should know this. The NRA, once upon a time, was designed as an organization for gun owners to support them, to support the membership, to give you news, to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of hunting and the world of gun ownership. No more. They collect your dues and they send you out whatever baloney they send you out. But the vast majority of the budget of the NRA is paid by gun manufacturers. They are no more, no less than shills and lobbyists for gun manufacturers anymore. That's all they are. They don't represent you. There are several prominent Americans. I think among them would be George H.W. Bush, former president of the United States, number 4, I want to say he was 41. Right? He was 41 and some was 43. Is that correct? Anyway, he resigned from the NRA. He handed in his membership because of the BS that was the NRA. They are all crooked. They are thieves. They are corrupt. And the corruption is at the very, very, very top. And I think there's more than enough evidence to prove that. Anyway, it's time. Those are my thoughts. You can agree with them. You can disagree with them. That's up to you. Make comments if you would on my, I hope this is posting on my Making It Out Alive Facebook page. Please make comments. I will make an effort to answer every single comment that's made. I am not in any way, shape, or form denigrating gun ownership or gun owners, not even a little. I am concerned about the state of the guns that we own, who gets their hands on them, legally or otherwise, and let's step back and just remember that this young man who murdered these children in Uvalde, Texas at the Robb Grammar School bought 2 AR-15 style weapons legally. That law, whatever makes that legal, that's got to be changed. Texas, I call on you. I call on the voters of Texas because you have representatives who aren't going to do anything. Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz, couldn't be better descriptions of bootlicking backbenchers. They've done nothing good for you. They're doing nothing good for you. Their only goal, their only thing. If you think Ted Cruz is looking for anything other than to stay in power, you're might as well be Tommy on the Pinball Wizard, a deaf, dumb, and blind kid. Because Ted Cruz is only in this for one reason. Ted Cruz. The reason he aligned so closely, in the end, aligned so closely with the disgraced, twice impeached former guy is because he is just as much a narcissist. This is my place for social and political commentary. That's my opening shot. This is my first podcast. I'm going to do these, I hope, on a regular basis. Today is Wednesday. I think I'll probably do them at least every Wednesday. I'm thinking that maybe Monday and Wednesday I will do them. They will be whatever. They will be 15 minutes. Today is a little over 20 minutes. They'll be an hour. I don't know what they'll be, but I'm going to vent my thoughts on this, the conditions that we're living in right now. We are all in deep, deep, deep trouble as a country, as a democracy, if we don't pay attention to what's going on, if we don't pay attention to the people who are trying to control our lives from the bottom. We are in the throes of an absolute authoritarian minority rule. That's what we're going to have. Not the majority, the minority is setting themselves up to rule over all of us. We will no longer be a democracy. We will be an authoritarian country, an authoritarian government. That's where we're headed. That'll probably be what we talk about next here on Making It Out Alive. I want to thank you very much for joining me. I'm grateful for the time you spend with me. I hope you'll come by and see me another time. That's all I've got for you today. I wish you love and blessings and all the good the universe has to offer. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you.